By growing coral and creating diverse habitats, can you attract small and large marine animals in Aqua, Biodiversity in the Oceans? Thanks for joining me at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Melissa Delp. Aqua, Biodiversity in the Oceans is a drafting and tile-laying game for 1 to 4 players that takes about an hour to play. It's designed by Dan and Tristan Halstad and published by Sidekick Games and The Op. They sent me this copy for review. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the components, give a brief overview of the gameplay, and then tell you what I think about it. Besides the score pad and rulebook, the rest of the components are cardboard. There are tiles for coral, small animals, large animals, ecosystems, and starting tiles for each player. The tiles are made from thick cardboard, some of the thickest I've seen in games. The box has some nice touches. The inside covers have more of the beautiful Vincent Dutrait art, and there's a sturdy cardboard insert you can assemble. I especially appreciate the icons that show what belongs in each section. The game has 3 multiplayer ways you can play: family, core, and advanced. These adjust how many ways you can score and the complexity of the scoring. There are also modified rules for solo play. So I've mainly played the advanced version, and that's the rule set I'm going to describe and critique in this review. The game is played for 17 rounds, and then you perform final scoring. Each round, players will take a turn, starting with the player holding the sea snail tile. Your turn has several steps. First, you choose a coral tile from the market and then add it to your personal play area. You have to match at least one of the sides with a tile already in your reef. If you create a hexagon of a single color, you've formed a habitat. You then attract a small animal of the same color onto your habitat. If you have several small animals next to each other, and they're different types, you can choose to attract a large animal. Take the matching shape and place it on top of the small animals. There are a limited number of each large animal, and their point values decrease. So the first player to claim a certain shape will get the most points for that shape. After each player has taken a turn, the round ends. You refill the market and begin a new round. Now that sounds simple enough, right? Take a tile, place it in your ocean, and try to attract animals. If you're playing the family variant, that's about it. At the end of the game, you'll score points for each animal tile you've collected. First the large animals, then the small animals. But when you play the core and advanced versions, you add reef and ecosystem scoring. Reefs are areas with 4 or more matching corals. You'll score points for small animals adjacent to reefs. Ecosystems are special scoring tiles. During setup, you assign 1 ecosystem to each type of small animal. At the end of the game, you'll score points for each small animal that meets the ecosystem conditions, like having certain types of large animals, having certain small animals adjacent to it, or having the most of that type of animal. Playing with the reefs and ecosystems makes the game a lot more thinky. Now you have several layers of scoring you're considering when you choose your tile and its placement. It reminds me a little bit of Cascadia, where you have different scoring goals for each animal, and some of them interact with each other. So that was a fairly quick overview of how the game plays. Now, what do I think about it? Here are some of the things that I like. It's a pretty quick game. It plays in less than an hour, but it still has a good amount of strategy, especially if you play with the core or advanced game. I like games with a lot of variety, where you have to adapt and adjust to the game state. Aqua has that with the scoring, since you can switch up the ecosystem tiles each game, kind of like using different animal scoring cards in Cascadia. I also like the puzzly nature of the game. Do I place this tile here to attract a large animal? or do I place it somewhere else to take advantage of ecosystem scoring? The art and visual design of games doesn't matter as much to me as Kevin, but I do think Aqua is beautiful. Vincent Dutray's artwork is lovely. I didn't have any issues telling the different animals and colors apart, and the components are high quality with a thick cardboard. If you've watched any of my other review or top 10 videos, you've probably discovered that I like games with low or indirect player interaction. I don't want head-to-head battles, take that, and my stuff being destroyed. So I like the level of interaction in Aqua. It's mainly someone taking the tile you were hoping to draft or beating you in a race to a specific large animal. There is one other interesting interaction that I didn't cover in the overview. Turn order. Whoever has the sea snail goes first in the next round, and there are 2 ways to gain the sea snail. When it's your turn to draft a coral tile, you can take the sea snail instead, if it's unclaimed. By doing that, you'll drop to last pick in this round, but you'll have first pick in the next round. If the sea snail isn't chosen by a player, whoever drafted it last gains it. I'm not sure how much impact this will have in a 2-player game, but it was used quite a bit in our 4-player games. So now for the negatives or dislikes. There is a good bit of luck with the draw of the tiles that come out. You will always have some sort of choice because there's one more tile in the market than the number of players. But if you're waiting for that perfect piece to match several sides, it might not come out. Or someone else drafts it, or you realize the colors are swapped and the tile you were thinking of is actually opposite. I had another negative I was going to mention that dealt with the coral tiles that have 2 of the same color, but I've learned that we were actually playing incorrectly. You can't make an exact hexagon shape with the double colored tiles. Based on this section of the rulebook that says habitats are created by forming a hexagon using exactly 3 corals of the same color, we were playing that the double color tiles would never work for a habitat. That restrictive view of the rules caused some frustration at the tightness of the game. But the designer has clarified on BGG that those tiles can be used to create habitats. It's okay if there are more than 3 sections of the same color as long as the hexagon shape is created. So I'm glad that the game is freer than I first thought and that the double color tiles are more versatile, but I wish the rules didn't use the word exactly. Another potential negative is that it can be difficult to keep track of all the ecosystem scoring, especially for your first few games. Well, Kevin and I are sometimes guilty of bypassing the suggestions that games give for introductory or learning games, and often we'll jump into full or advanced setups. I mean, we are pretty experienced gamers. For this game, I'd suggest starting with the core game. It includes reef and ecosystem scoring, but the ecosystems are all the same main type, scoring for large animals. The core game will give you the full experience with a little less rules overhead. So here are my final thoughts. I think Aqua has a lot going for it. Beautiful art and color palette, several game modes that take it from a light casual game to a game scratching the medium complexity level. It also has scenarios, challenges, and modifications listed in the rulebook. I think I've seen the price in the $40 range, which seems a good fit for the quality of components and level of gameplay. If you like puzzly, tile-laying games and you like nature themes, I think you should give Aqua a try. It reminds me a little bit of Cascadia because of the drafting element and the different ways the animals score. I've really enjoyed my plays of it. So let me know. What are your favorite tile-laying or nature-themed games? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and please like and subscribe.